Hi, Clare. This
Hello.
is Dr. Mia,
Hello.
and thank you for coming today.
Okay.
And before we start, what we would like to know, how are you feeling about having this conversation today?
Uh, I'm feeling okay. I didn't really know what to expect, or I perhaps hadn't thought about it before I came. I just got in the car and drove here, and then realised it was filming and
I see.
whatever. I hadn't really
Yeah.
given it much thought.
I see. Firstly, thanks for agreeing to be a part of this podcast. And the idea is to tell your story to the wider audience,
Okay.
the local and the wider community, so that they can take positives up from your journey,
Yes.
and somehow it should also help them as well when
Yes.
they decide about these different screening programs.
Yes.
Okay, but before I go any further, I wanted to know when you decided to be a part of this
Uh,
podcast.
it's just a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember what her name is, but she phoned me and asked me,
Yes,
and I just thought, well, yes, yeah, I'll take part because screening is what caught my cancer. Wasn't
exactly.
anything. I don't think I'd have even found it without screening.
I see. So you will help with the screening in your journey to detect this cancer. And was it the
Yes.
reason that you wanted others to be helped as well and they
Well,
know
it's
about it?
mainly that I went for a routine screening test at
Mm-hmm.
53, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't. I was perfectly fit and healthy. I'd never really been ill in any way. And I went for a breast screening, at the local supermarket outside Morrison's. There was a
Mm-hmm.
breast screening thing, and then sort of 10 days later they called me back again. I thought it won't be me because I'm fit and healthy, and I don't smoke, and I wasn't overweight then. I was slimmer than I am now, and I just assumed that it wouldn't be me, but it turned out it was me. So, and it was only caught through the breast screening, and it was very, very early, early on. So I was very fortunate. I remember him saying I'd got aggressive, invasive cancer,
Okay,
and it
okay.
was, but that it was a good prognosis because it was caught so early,
And I think
and
that's
that was because of the screening, really.
that's the very purpose of the screening to
Yeah,
detect
yeah,
these cancers on an
yeah,
early stage
yeah.
to
I
cause.
couldn't feel it. If I'd have felt my breast, even after I was diagnosed, I could not feel that lump.
I see you didn't feel any lumps, and
No.
often the patients when they go to the GP when they feel a lump and they get worried,
Yeah.
and but you were at a stage where you could not even feel
I
a
couldn't
lump.
even feel it after. The only time I felt it was when what's the lady, the person who does like an ultrasound?
Mammographer.
She put my fingers and pushed in,
Mm-hmm.
and she pushed my fingers into where it was, and I could feel it then. And then I tried again when I got home doing what she'd done, and I still couldn't feel it. So it must have been very well. It was. I think it was 20 millimeters or something like that.
I see. So, not having any symptoms, being fit and well in
Yeah,
yourself, and then all of a sudden you get to be told that there's something sinister going on.
yeah.
Tell me, take me through that moment. What was happening? Who were you with at
Well,
the time?
yeah, I was completely polaxed. I just couldn't believe. I just couldn't believe it, really. Although looking back, why shouldn't it be me? But I did think I was quite angry. I'd see people smoking and overweight and think, oh, look at them. They haven't got anything wrong with it. I was very sort of angry at first. That didn't last very long, to be fair, and but I was, like I thought I'd lived a reasonably healthy lifestyle, and it was very difficult because I've got two teenage sons at the time, so it
Oh,
was really hard telling them because, looking back, I've done well and I'm still here and I'm fit and well, but at the time I told them I didn't know what was going to happen and how everything would pan out, because I had everything. I had to have. I didn't have. I had a lumpectomy because it was so small, but I had to have chemotherapy,
Hmm.
radiotherapy, Herceptin, and then I had to go on a an estrogen blocking drug for many, I
I
forget,
see.
for 7 or 8 years.
I see. So that is a later part of your journey when it comes to the
Yes, yeah,
treatment.
yeah.
That's
Sorry, have I jumped
no,
ahead?
not at all, not at all. And talking about this, the screening program we would
Mm,
talk about, and you mentioned that you had to when you broke the news to
mm,
your children,
mm.
and it must have come as a surprise to them as well. How did they take it at the time?
Well, that's quite hard to talk about, really. Um, I remember one of the older son who was, how old would he have been then? 19, maybe? Yeah, I think they were 19 and 17 or 16 and 18. I can't quite remember exactly. And the older son, I was telling them, and his legs just buckled under him, and because he'd had a friend whose mum had died of cancer not long before, so he associated cancer with death, as a lot of people do. Um, yeah, and I just remember his legs buckled under him, and he had to sit down, and it's horrible, horrible.
Seems to me, I'm sorry to hear that. And if you need this one, it's fine.
I think.
And uh, again, it goes to say that when one family member is affected with a diagnosis like cancer, it does affect the entire
Yes,
family.
it does. It
It
does.
seems like the kids were affected as well.
Yeah, and me and my husband at the time, had both still got both sets of parents alive, so we had to tell them, and
It wasn't easy.
no, it wasn't easy at all.
While we were navigating the early, news of being diagnosed with the cancer,
Yeah.
was there support available around the family
Oh
or
yeah,
the
the
healthcare support?
family were really supportive. The, there was a lot of a lot of talk of the, you're strong, you'll fight it, which doesn't help in my opinion, because yeah, that
Mhm.
didn't help at all. People saying, "No, you're a strong person. You'll fight it," and that isn't really. You can be as strong as you like,
Mhm.
but you know it's a bit of
It's never
it's a lot
easy.
of
Never
many
easy.
things that whether you survive or not. The earlier it's caught, the better, obviously.
I see.
So.
And talking about the screening program
Mm,
itself, prior to opting for the screening, did you
mm.
knew much about the breast screening
Well,
program?
I'd been, because I was over 50, I think
Hmm.
I'd had one breast screening at 50, and this was my second. Because is that how it works? It's such a lot. It's 30. You're talking
There's an
13 years
intervals. I
ago.
think nowadays it's every 3 years that you
Yeah,
have
well, it
after
was
the.
then. I think I'd had one at 50,
Hmm.
and then another one. This was the one I had at 53.
I see. So it was the second
So
time you were having,
yes, yeah, that's right.
and the first one was absolutely fine.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Just tell me a little bit more. When you get the screening program, what exactly happens? Is it uh, the goods and the bads? Not so obviously. The idea is to pick up things early,
Mm.
but the process in itself, is it? How is it? Is it smooth? Is it?
Um,
How are they making?
well, I mean, you know, bearing in mind that when you go for a breast screening,
Hmm.
you don't know that you have got anything wrong at that point. If you have, I mean, most
Sure.
women obviously haven't. Um, so all I can say is you're in and out in 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Which is quite straightforward, right?
Yes, yeah, very straightforward. I mean, it's a bit uncomfortable,
Hmm.
but
Nothing major.
nothing major, no, and it's over so quick. There was nobody waiting, and it's like here. I just walked in. They told me, take your top off, and it was done and dusted in very very short time.
I see. What I'm getting here is the screening program itself is quite swift, quite
Mm,
quick,
mm,
and so it has basically two processes. The one journey is when you go for the screening, which is
mm,
quite relatively
mm,
straightforward. You get a recall,
mm,
and you go for a screening. Within 5 minutes, they do it, and off you go.
mm,
And majority of the patients go home with reassurance that there's nothing concerning and continue with the screening. maybe in 3 years' time when you are due
Mm.
next. And that's the initial bit. And obviously, that majority of the patients the screening will fall in that category.
Yes.
But then the next part comes, it's the ones who get picked up with something
Yes.
abnormal.
Yeah.
And that starts a new journey, right?
Yes.
And which
Yeah.
begins with obviously a news which is not good
No.
and can have an impact, right?
Well, the letter that I got, but it
Mm-hmm.
might be different now,
Mm-hmm.
and basically said that I think must have been that abnormalities or something along those lines, and then it goes to say that 80% of patients, this is not anything uh, to worry about, so to speak. I can't recall. It's like I say, a
So
long time
basically,
ago. So then, that's
that's
what.
when the journey begins,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I see. So basically, the letter is reassuring in itself that we
yeah,
have something picked, but that necessarily may not be the
yeah.
cancer.
That's right.
Majority of them will look into it a bit further and
Yeah,
hopefully you'll get back home with reassurance.
yeah,
Having said that, but there may be something, but if it is, we can deal with it.
yeah.
And the whole purpose, if it is, to pick it early and to treat it,
Yes, yeah,
isn't it? That was it.
yeah.
Did you discuss at that when you get this letter? Was there anybody who you shared with, and what were your thought process at the time?
Well, it was a Friday. I'd been out on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because didn't work on Fridays. I'd been out and I got in and the letter was waiting for me, and then I needed to go in on the Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So this was literally, a couple of days before. So I rung my husband at work and said, "Can you take some time off work on Monday?" Which he did. And then we went and we had I remember sitting in various different places with various different tests and things. But I think my particular cancer uh, was very easy to diagnose. Like some people have to wait weeks and weeks, but I think mine must have presented itself in a very sort of standard manner, maybe is the way to put it. And I was diagnosed that, you know, virtually, no, I went back again, and then I was that later that week, and that's when I saw a consultant. And but by then, I thought it was probably that I knew that that was going to be the case.
And as we just embarked into the second journey, the second
Yeah,
stage of this one, where the cancer has been picked,
yeah.
I believe the family was there. And was there any other support given to you from the mental health point of view?
No, no, that's one thing that I never had. I didn't even know until after. I think this would be different now. I'm not saying what it's like now. I didn't even know there was a Macmillan section in the hospital near the PALS department.
I see, which has changed now. I think
Yes,
there's
yeah, I
more
think people
support
are,
now,
yeah.
right?
You're talking 2013, 14, into 2014
I see.
when so 12 years ago that is, so it's probably different. But no, I didn't know. I wasn't given any mental support, and I wasn't given any. And my breast cancer nurse
Hmm.
only spoke to me once.
So that's something you may want to have changed going forward.
Oh yeah, I would
I see.
if I'd have
And
yeah.
within the community, did you thought of probably getting in touch with the GP? Any more support there?
Not really, no. I mean, what happened was sort of, for, which was fortuitous for me,
Mm-hmm.
was a friend of mine was diagnosed with breast cancer
Mm-hmm.
virtually at the same time. So we went through treatment together. Not, we weren't going to hospital for chemotherapy at the same time, things like that. But so she was my biggest support, and I think I was hers because we both understood what was going on, because family tend to, although they're supportive, they only want you to be positive, and it's
True.
not very difficult to be positive all the time. They want you, you'll be all right,
I get
and even though you might think you're going to be all right, you don't always feel that you are. So it is very good to have, whatever support it might be outside of the family, I would say.
I see. And if I may ask,
Mm.
what were your fears at the time? As it's not a good news, we know that, but different people have different fear of, kids what their future will be like.
Yes,
And
that was my biggest fear of leaving the children, um, you know, without their mum, and also my elderly parents who'd already lost a son. Um, if anything happened, that was a real worry.
I see.
So yeah, that was the hardest time. But once I was sort of in the thing, if you know what I mean,
Hmm.
in it, and having the treatment, and you sort of focused on that.
The sort of an adrenaline rush kicks in, you're in the process, and
Yeah,
then you
you
don't get
feel a
much
bit
time to
different.
think about, to
Yeah,
reflect,
exactly.
right?
You're not so, you're sort of concentrating on, because if you have chemotherapy, for example, makes you feel very, I mean, the cancer itself never made me ill, really. It was the
The
treatment that
treatment.
made me ill. So chemotherapy is, yeah, is,
So,
tricky.
so what I'm getting is when you're being diagnosed and when you're processing the
Yeah,
news or trying to accept that this is what I've been
yeah,
diagnosed with, then different things comes into, okay, what's going to happen to me and to my family, to
yes,
my parents, to my children, all those thoughts,
yes, yeah.
and as a human, we tend to think the worst case
Yeah, yeah,
scenario,
definitely,
isn't it?
definitely, yeah,
But then we go on to start the treatment, whereby
yeah.
in your case, I think, was it the lumpectomy, the
Yes,
part of the
that's
breast was
right, yeah,
removed,
yeah.
right? That followed with the radiation, the therapy, right? And the chemotherapy.
Chemotherapy,
Was it
yeah.
just the chemo or both?
Both chemotherapy and
Yeah. So
radiotherapy.
just for the yeah. So
And then
basically,
Herceptin as well, I had to have. That made me very ill.
I see. So often there's the
Yeah,
chemotherapy and radiotherapy is a basically supplement after the surgery to make sure that it doesn't
yeah,
come back,
yeah.
and to if
That's right.
there's
They called
anything
it belt and braces, is what they called it.
absolutely, absolutely. And then that was the your journey,
Yes.
once you move forward. And you mentioned already that probably you could have had there could have been a bit more support system
Yeah,
with the mental health, right? The
yeah.
counseling and anything which outstands, which looks okay. This made a massive difference at that time to help me sail through the journey and come the positive end of
Um,
it.
I think the concentration on the surgery, like the breast, my sort of allocated breast cancer nurse,
Mm-hmm.
she she concentrated a lot about losing your hair through chemotherapy,
Mm-hmm.
which, to be honest, for me wasn't. It can be absolutely devastating for some women, but it wasn't the biggest thing for me. And then she rung me after the surgery, the day after I'd had surgery. Again, that wasn't particular because I only had a lumpectomy, and
Mm-hmm.
I recovered from that quite easily. Um, that wasn't the biggest problem. And then going through chemotherapy, which was the most difficult
Mm-hmm.
time, I was never, nobody ever supported me, and especially because I had, I can't recall did I have Herceptin before chemotherapy? Would that have happened?
Herceptin often happens after the.
Yeah, well, I had,
Sometimes they do certain treatments to shrink it before they go
yes,
for surgery.
that's what it was because it did shrink, and I
Mm.
also was on a one of these sort of trials that ends where you get a drug that ends in AB. I can't think something something
The
amabab.
chemotherapy, I see,
Yeah,
the
and
MABs.
that shrunk it, and then I had the Herceptin,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a severe allergic reaction the first time I had it. And this was a very upsetting time actually because it was worse than childbirth, the pain. And I don't want to scare anybody because apparently it's very, very unusual, this. But they gave me morphine to, and I was all right. My mum was there, my poor mum was there. And then the consultant said to me, that I wouldn't be able to continue with her septin, which for me was like, you know, her
It was
two cancer.
disappointment here.
Well, not just disappointments. I was convinced then I was going to die because that type of cancer before her septin had such a big,
Bad prognosis.
massive mortality rate, didn't it? Like HER2 positive
I see.
breast cancer. And he just said, you won't be able to continue because you've had this allergic reaction. And again, he just walked away, and that was that. And then I had an appointment then with my normal consultant, and he
Hmm.
said, "No, we'll try. We'll give you a Piriton type treatment.
Some
Some
anti-allergies to
antihistamine
prevent it
before,
beforehand.
and we'll let you have it more slowly, and you'll be watched the whole time." And that did work. And then after that, I was okay with the Herceptin, but it was just sort of it was, yeah, and I was just left sitting on a bed,
Yeah.
yeah, and you
You
know,
wish again we
yeah,
should
I
have
wish
had bit
there'd be
more
somebody,
communication, bit
yeah,
more
yeah,
support, somebody to
yeah.
hold your hand there.
Because the thing is, it's all right saying there's help out there, but I didn't know who to. There was just nothing as far as
I see.
mental
And
health or worry or anything like that.
I
I
see.
mean, now you can phone people even, can't you, in the middle of the night if you want?
I see. Going backwards for the allergy, I would just want to say a thing about
Yeah.
it. I had worked in the oncology previously,
Yes.
and yes, it does often certain chemos can cause reactions.
Yes.
And if it does first time, then it gets sometimes re-challenged as well. Re-challenged, whereby when you do it second time, they do give it slowly, and before the treatment, they give certain anti-allergy
That's
medications,
exactly what
often
they did.
often the
Yeah.
steroids,
Yeah.
to in anticipation that the
Yeah.
reaction, and it most of the time than not it does work.
Yeah. It did work. It did work.
I see, I see. And then now we're here today, right? We
Mm.
have, I can imagine when you were going through the journey, not
Mm.
every day was the same.
No.
They were.
Um. Yeah, I'm trying to trying to remember. I mean, when you're going through the chemotherapy
Mm,
cycle of
mm,
three weeks, you've got maybe a week and a half where you feel absolutely awful,
mm,
and then a week and a half where you feel a lot better. And then talking of steroids, the day before I would have chemotherapy,
mm-hmm.
I'd have to take a steroid. And that's like a rocket that like you feel like you could do anything when you've had a steroid. So the day before chemotherapy, I was always
Nice.
like absolutely full of energy and the best day of the month, knowing that the next day I was going to be
Yeah, okay.
knocked down again.
So the extremes
Yeah,
were
yeah,
there.
well, like incredible extremes, yeah.
I
But
see.
I mean, it just goes so fast that time. I mean, I can't even remember how many chemotherapy sessions I had now. It's all a bit, I think your brain has a way of protecting itself from things that
True,
are
true.
upsetting or distressing or stressful. So afterwards, um, a lot of the things are a bit blurry as time frame and things. And sometimes my husband will say something, and I'll say, "I can't. What me? Does that happen to me?" And he'll say, "Yeah, don't you remember? We went and we saw Miss. I can't remember what my consultant's name was. Again, I've forgotten that. And yeah, and I'll say, I don't think that happened. And he'll say,
So yes, what I'm
yeah,
getting here is basically this is not it's a life-changing event
yes,
which starts from a simple screening program,
yes,
and then majority of the people they go home with reassurance. But whoever gets picked, the good thing is they get picked early on,
yeah,
and the
yeah,
fact that this is life-changing because you embark on a new journey,
yeah.
which as a person changes us, isn't it?
I think it does. It does change. Yeah,
it it
yeah.
it 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 it, it it inevitably makes us look at art differently. I think
Hmm.
appreciate it more,
Hmm. I think so.
and obviously with your experience, right? And when you look back and reflect on from the beginning of the journey to the end, the screening
Yeah.
program, the startup screening program, and then the diagnosis, and followed by the treatment, which was
Hmm.
the surgery in your case, along with or followed by chemotherapy and radiotherapy.
Yeah.
What do you feel about the screening program? What's your take on, yeah, when you take
Well, from
everything in?
my point of view,
Mhm.
obviously, it was a lifesaver. I suppose if I hadn't done it at all, whether I'd have caught it later, as it had grown, but it made, I didn't have to have a breast removed. because it was so small. And that was all picked up from screening. So I would recommend any woman to do the screening. It's like 5 minutes of discomfort. So you know that it is uncomfortable. You know, the sort of the system of sort of clamp in your breast and things, but it's very you could eat your dinner in longer time than it takes to have your breast screened, or so it it's not.
And they all, well, I think before yourself, the other colleagues, they appear to have the same message, right?
Yeah,
5 minutes of going through a process can be life changing
yeah,
for good, right?
yeah,
Look
yeah,
back now, we
yeah,
are with our family, with our kids,
yeah,
and we
yeah,
feel. I would imagine you must be feeling, the journey you've gone through, and you came on the positive end of it.
I mean, I don't think about it much anymore. It's so, you know, I've gone through it, and
Hmm.
sometimes when I meet new people, and they'll be talking about something, and I might say, "Oh yeah, when I went for chemotherapy, such and such a thing," and they'll look at me like I didn't know you'd had cancer, and said, "Oh yeah, I thought I told you," because it's become less important to me now. It's
Hmm.
always, if I feel ill, I always think, what is anything terrible happening? I mean, if I get like a bad headache, or I'm aching in my bones, or think, what could this be some terrible, thing, which I would never have thought like that before. But fingers crossed, I haven't really been ill since. I don't think I've hardly been to the doctor since. So
That's very good to know.
yeah,
And Claire, uh, you must be having friends or the family, who will be at your age at some point, right? And your
yeah,
daughters will be
hmm,
at your age, or your other relatives, right?
yes.
When they, what do you, when you discuss these things, what do you tell them about the screening? And
I Well, most of my friends are my age, so, and I think I've got quite a lot of friends who worked in the NHS, and I think they tend to go for the screening anyway. But I would say to anybody younger, you're foolish really if you're called for a routine mammogram, just go. We're very fortunate in this country. We don't have to pay for any of these things, and it, why wouldn't you?
I've experienced, sometimes I've seen few patients, what they call is the fear of something will be picked is
Yeah,
so much that we as human tend to avoid it.
yeah.
It's like, if I go for this, they will pick up something, it will be better. I don't go and don't want to. Basically, it's,
It might go away on its own.
and what would your advice be on the,
Well, my advice would be, without being, with trying to be kind, I suppose, would be, it doesn't work that way. It's not, if there is something, then it needs to be looked at anyway. So, if there isn't, you've got the reassurance of knowing there isn't. Otherwise, as the years go on, especially if you say, miss, you never go,
hmm
and you've in that time, if a woman never goes for a breast screening, in that time she will definitely have had friends or relatives who have been diagnosed with breast cancer through either the screening or another way. So why would you not give yourself the opportunity to, just for reassurance that everything's okay? You get a nice letter to say no abnormalities, and come again in 3 years or something
that's
like that.
reassuring in itself,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, just to get that. So if you, it's very difficult though if that's the way people think, and like you say, there is that. I'd rather not know.
I see. So the idea is to basically, and sometimes when these things happen, would you say it's a better idea to maybe at least before you make that decision, at least discuss with the family and friends,
Yeah,
that can be helped that can
yeah.
sometimes be helpful to help you change your decision.
I think
Or do you?
sometimes people who don't don't who choose like this, who've got this mentality like we were just discussing, um, wouldn't discuss it with family and friends. They wouldn't say anything.
I
This is
see.
this friend of mine from work. She definitely wouldn't have done. She would have, um, yeah, she wouldn't have discussed it. She'd have made her own decision and stuck to it. And you know,
I see. And again, if you look at it differently, it's about the family as well.
yeah,
When anything like this, because it doesn't only affect the person, obviously it affects them greatly, but it
mm,
also have an impact on the wider family.
mm,
And
mm,
the idea is to do consider it.
mm. There's a lot more. I don't know, a lot more sort of acceptance of cancer. Now people know the statistics, and you see a lot of
Hmm.
things on television sort of highlighting
True.
cancer and that I think, it's a horrible, horrible thing, but, most people do
Good.
recover.
Good.
It's not a death sentence, although I'm sure anybody who's diagnosed today
Mm.
will think it is.
Yeah. Touch wood, you're the
Yeah, yeah,
the best
yeah. I'm
examples
I'm
in
an
front of
exam.
you.
I'm a good advert for breast screening because that's how mine was caught, and without it, I wouldn't have been diagnosed so early. And
Well, thank you very much,
okay,
Claire. On the final note, I would like to want you to know from you what does it mean to yourself to share your experience about your journey of cancer from the screening till the end to the wider audience. What does it mean to yourself
it,
personally?
yeah, I'm glad to hopefully persuade somebody to who's maybe hesitant and thinks I don't want to go, that they would go. It's yeah, yeah.
I'm sure this will make a good impact. And thank you very much for
Okay,
coming
all
today.
right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.